Hey friends, welcome to another episode of Synced Up Equipment Basics. My name is Kyle, and today we're going to learn a new type of toss known as a flat toss. So a flat toss is different from all the other tosses we've been going over recently because it cuts a completely different plane. So when we were working our pop toss, pole toss, silk toss, all of the above, we were working in a vertical plane flat in front of us. But when we do a flat toss, it's actually going to be at a horizontal plane above our head. So there's a bit of a different approach to make that happen as we go into the release of this toss. Before we get into all that, please make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. And as always, please hit that bell icon so you can constantly stay up to date with anything we post related to color guard, or honestly anything related to the marching arts. And now that you've done that, let's go learn how to do our flat toss. So like I said earlier, a flat toss is going to be switching planes into the horizontal planes instead of being a vertical toss in front of us, and it's actually going to be spinning over our head. So before we get into anything of how to do a flat toss, I want to first make sure that you are aware of safety. Please always make sure that you are aware of yourself and the people around you and aware of where your flag is. Always keep your eye on the flag. Remember that when you release this toss, if something goes wrong, it's okay, but you have two hands that you can always use to either slap the flag out of the air or get it away from you in a very safe manner so that way you don't get hit by anything. So just be aware of your surroundings and aware of yourself and make the best decision you can as you're trying to learn this toss. So we're going to start in a right flat position, but instead of having both hands on top of the pole, I'm going to take that left hand and I'm going to bring it underneath at the bottom tape. So both of my thumbs are facing up towards the bottom crutch tip, and my flag is flat at my waist right now. This is my starting position for a flat toss. So now let's talk about going into the release of the flat toss. There's a little bit of detail that goes into this. The first thing I want you to think about is when you're starting in this flat position, you're going to initiate the rotation by pushing the silk forward, pulling the pole back as you're lifting up over your head. This is going to be your release point. So I'll give you a side preview. We start in this flat in line with our waist. I push the silk forward and I lift up over my head. And this is going to be where I let go of the flag. So it's going to be over my head, just so you're aware of that. But when you do that, you want to make sure that both of your hands travel in the same pathway at the same level specifically. So we start with them level in line with each other at flat. We want to make sure that we don't lead with the right hand more than we lead with the left hand, or vice versa, leading with the left hand first and then the right. Both of them have to go up in an equal manner at the same time up into that release point, or else we won't truly establish a flat plane and you'll get more of a tilted 45 angled-esque type of toss. So as you go in from this flat position, just make sure that both hands travel at the same rate up into that flat release above your head right here. So now that you've taken some time working on how to get to the release point of the flat toss, let's talk about how to catch it. So when you get up into the release, you're going to let go with the silk in front of you here. It's going to spin above your head, kind of like a helicopter blade, and the silk will go behind you. When the silk comes around on the right side of you again, that's when you're going to start to put your hand back in. My hand is going to connect with the flag at the same positions that they were when I started, except flipped. So I started with my right hand on top and my left hand under at the tab and the bottom tape, but when I catch this, I'm gonna catch with my right hand under and my left hand on top. This is because my right hand is what causes it to fall and stop in my hand, and then my left hand stops the rotation. If it was underneath, my left hand would have difficulty stopping the pole from continuing to rotate. So I stop the rotation, and then this is where I can find my squeeze. So I start with my right hand on top, left hand under, I go to my release, it spins around my head, and I'll catch with my right hand underneath the tab and my left hand over at the bottom tape. Again, notice this is at a flat position at my waist. So I started flat, I released at flat, and then I caught at flat. And now that we know how to start, catch, and initiate the rotation of this toss, we just have to put those ideas together. So a quick demo of a flat toss. We start in that flat position in line with our waist. We push that right hand out as we lift that left hand up and push both of them up at the same level at the same time. And then we release when it's in front of us to go out, and then we catch underneath with my right hand underneath the tab and my left hand on top of that tape. When you're first trying this toss, I know that it can be a little bit scary because it's over our head. Feel free, I'll give you a quick side preview of this. Feel free to slightly throw this out in front of you. Now be careful that when you throw it forward, you want to be cautious if there's people in front of you. Obviously don't throw it at your friend, but also be careful that you don't lift one hand above the other like we talked about earlier. Although we're kind of pushing this forward as we first try this, you want to think about still lifting at the same rate. So I can push it forward so it's a little less scary and I can see it a little bit more as I get more comfortable. And then once I feel fully comfortable with this toss, I can work on bringing it back more over on top of my head and then just letting it fall. If you put enough energy into the release of this toss and it rotates with proper speed, realistically, it's not gonna hit you. If I let go of this toss, it would fall in front of me. So it's not actually gonna hit my head if I rotate it properly. So just make sure that you give it the energy that you're looking for, and then you can just let it fall into those hands nice and easy. Once you get more comfortable with this toss, like I said earlier, when you find the rotation, it'll just rotate around you nice and seamlessly without hitting you. But you want to work on trying to master the idea of how much it should rotate and how high it should go. Your goal is to start at flat and end at flat. So if you release this toss and you catch up here, you know you pushed it a little bit too high. Or vice versa, if you release this toss and you catch down here, you know you caught a little bit too low or you released it a little bit too low. So just take the time to work on this and try and find that happy sweet spot to where you can catch back at your waist every single time. So just to go into a little bit of detail of what your free arm should look like underneath this toss, because I know it's a bit of a different release point. When I start in this flat position and I push up to my release right here, my left hand is close to the back of my head where my ponytail would be. So when you let go of this toss, go ahead and just let that left hand rest in that area right there and just keep it behind your head. That's the free arm position for your left hand. Your right hand lets go with it out at this 45-degree angle here. So realistically, my free hands underneath the flat toss should look like this. But notice my right hand should not lift above my head because then that's gonna be at the angle. I wanna keep it at that flat to where both hands are in line with each other, and then I just bring them down to that catch position. So we start at that flat, we go into the release, and then we catch again, just keeping that free arm. I'll give you a quick side preview of that as well. I go release, squeeze. And just to give a quick recap of our flat toss, we're working in the horizontal plane instead of the vertical plane, so we have a difference of approach to maintain that plane as we go into the release. We'll start at that right flat position with our left hand flipped underneath. We push both hands up into the air at the same time to get the rotation and initiate the lift of the toss. We want to make sure that both hands go up at the same rate, at the same level as you go into the release. It's going to rotate once above my head, and then when the silk passes around on this side of me one more time, that's when I bring my right hand underneath to catch at the tab and my left hand on top to catch at the bottom tape. We're just, again, making sure, we can't emphasize enough that we have to bring both of those hands up at the same time. And then after that, we just went into a little bit of detail of the difference of the free arms for this toss because, again, obviously we're working in a different plane than we did earlier. And that was our quick intro video on flat tosses. I know that this toss can be scary because it's above our head, but again, safety is more important than anything else, so always just be aware of the people who are around you and be aware of yourself as well. Just try and make the best decisions you can as you're learning this toss. But the more you do it, the more comfortable you'll be and the better you'll get at it over time. I hope you guys are enjoying this tossing portion of our equipment basics video. I know I am. Pretty soon we're gonna get a solid list of standard tosses to have in our back pocket and we can use to build off of in the future, so that's super exciting. Anyways, I hope you guys have fun spinning. As always, please make sure you're staying safe and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.